Hello, welcome to Fast News. I am Brandon. Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live or YouTube, however you are watching. I hope you are having a great day. We have an interesting night of news again for you. I am going to talk about the most talked about story of the day today. Not something I do a ton, but it's something that I read a little while after actually getting off of doing fast news last night, and it has kind of blown up, but it needs to be talked about. This Chad Wheeler story. It's absolutely disturbing for those of you guys who have already heard about it and seen the pictures. So we'll get into that. We'll let some people get in. We also have Ghislaine Maxwell. That'll be our second story here today. When we get into that, I want to talk about two things that really got kind of swept under the rug, given the last story about her, because of, her, again, what I said yesterday, her lawyers did a great job of kind of working the press. All right. Our third story is about one of the guys today who pled guilty in his role in the plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan and Andrew Cuomo, lifting orange and yellow zone restrictions and what exactly that means for Western New York. But enough talking, let's get into it. All right, so our first story tonight is about the most talked about story of the day that I have seen anyways on social media. Chad Wheeler, the now former Seattle Seahawks tackle, was arrested and charged with first-degree domestic violence assault, domestic violence, unlawful imprisonment, and resisting arrest. According to the incident report, the woman called 911 from inside a locked bathroom and said she was being killed. She told police she had fled to the bathroom after Wheeler threw her onto a bed and strangled her long enough for her to go unconscious. The woman told police that Wheeler has bipolar disorder and that he had not been taking his medications recently. She said Wheeler had a manic episode that had not been provoked by any sort of argument, but rather he was just suddenly snapped into a dark place, and he told her to stand up and bow to him. When she refused is when all hell broke loose, I guess. At one point, he removed one hand to press it against her nose and mouth to try to stop her from breathing while continuing to choke her with his other hand. The woman told police that when she regained consciousness, Wheeler was standing near the bed saying, "Wow, you're still alive." She said she ran to the bathroom and then called 911 before Wheeler picked the lock and entered. And then I guess he began to apologize profusely. She was taken to the hospital and she had a bloodied face, a swollen arm, and marks on her neck. And if you guys saw the pictures, you know how bad it was. It was disturbing. Wheeler was booked into King County Jail early Saturday morning and released on Tuesday after he posted the $400,000 bond. King County had requested that prosecutors had requested that it should be placed at $500,000, but the judge set it at $400,000, and he also ordered Wheeler to have no contact with the woman and surrender all of his weapons. If convicted, he could be sentenced to 8 to 12 years in prison, and his NFL career is more than likely done, rightfully so, and he is due back in court February 9th. So our next story here is a follow-up on story yesterday, and it's something that needs to be talked about. Ghislaine Maxwell. There was a few key things that really flew under the radar, and like I said yesterday, it was because her lawyers did an incredible job of working the press, and I gave them their congrats, because that one motion that they filed where they said there wasn't enough Black and Hispanic jurors, and that was just, in my opinion, very careful way to manipulate the press. Now, I have no proof to back that up, but we've seen it happen before. Now, the first thing I want to point out that really got swept under the rug during this, in a recent bail application, Maxwell revealed that she had set aside $7.67 million to be spent on lawyers out of $22.5 million in assets belonging to herself and her husband. So she has a lot of money, and I guess we knew that. But I guess I didn't expect her to have almost $8 million set aside for lawyers. Absolute insanity, and insane. It's just absolute insane. And another thing that has happened that I got swept under the rug is a judge has been receiving pushback from the Bureau of Prison officials on a recent order that Maxwell be allowed to access her laptop computer in Brooklyn Federal Jail on weekends so she can fully prepare for her trial. Right? Prison officials want Judge Allison Nathan to reconsider her order. A prison staff attorney wrote in a letter that Maxwell gets way more than enough time. She gets 13 hours per day, 5 days per week on her computer, which they said is far more time than other inmates who typically get 3 hours per day, 5 days per week. Now, this looks bad for a number of reasons, all right? And I'm sure I don't have to tell you guys this, but basically the biggest issue is it's confirming what a lot of us already kind of believe and how we view this prison system. It's that the rules are different if you have money. It doesn't matter if you're arrested or not. Even if you get arrested and caught, you still can live a life of privilege behind bars. And that is kind of what this is confirming. And it's just sad. All right. Now, our third story. The first member of the group charged in the plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer has pled guilty today. Ty Garbin, who is 25, appeared before U.S. District Judge Robert Jonker on his kidnapping conspiracy charge, which is punishable by up to life in prison. The man had agreed to fully cooperate with the FBI and other law enforcement agencies in the ongoing investigations on the other 5 defendants who are facing charges for this. Now, I think he's trying to cop some kind of plea deal. He seems like a young guy, so that's what I imagine that's about. Now, let's get into our last story here. Andrew Cuomo lifted the orange and yellow zone restrictions here in Western New York today. Now, there's been some confusion to what exactly that means. Now, he says he lifted these because the numbers have lowered since the holiday spike. All right. Now, there are still some restrictions in place, and let's go over them. For example, restaurants, tables were limited to 4 people, right? Now they can have up to 10 people at them per table. Gyms now can operate at 33% capacity instead of 25% capacity. And barbershops and salons will be able to operate at 50% capacity instead of 25% capacity. So those are really the biggest changes here. Mask ordinances, all that, I believe, still all stay in place. Those are just the major changes. With Andrew Cuomo lifting the orange and yellow zone restrictions. I'm so sorry Fast News started late today, guys. It's not something I want to make a habit of. I was out of the house and I didn't get in till late, and then I had to take a shower, and you guys know how that stuff goes. So thank you guys for tuning in. For those of you guys that did, I will see you guys tomorrow at 10 p.m. like normal. We will get back on normal schedule. You guys have a great day.